Welcome to the Drumming Talk Show. I'm your host, Oakley Cook, and today we're going to be talking about the different types of drum sets. Um, First of all, just going to get into the basics. We got acoustic and electric. Acoustic, you can change the tunes of it and make it all sound very different. Electric, you can click a button and it can all just change it. So it's a very different setup. You got hard plastic pads, and then you got uh, kind of softer plastic pads on drum sets. Then you got your cymbals. And let's start off with our first drum set. So we got rock slash pop drum set. The standard traditional rock drum set features two toms, a four tom, a hi-hat cymbal, two crash cymbals, and a ride, as well as the bass and snare drum. Um, this is a setup that has been used for about a century now. The bass drum and snare drum are very important in this kit because they've driven the rhythm of most rock and pop songs since the Beatles. Um, Another thing, rock drummers will often add more crash cymbals in order to color the accents they give to the music. Um, Usually rock drummers in general, will choose Pearl or DW brand drums for hard-hitting styles of play. Uh, Roger Taylor and Queen also endorses DW drums. He is a rock drummer for Queen. Uh, they use it because I guess they're very durable, and with their hard hitting, it just endures it, and then just makes it better. Um, so yeah, that's about it for a rock drum set. Let's go on to a jazz drum set. Jazz drum sets often feature a variant on the rock pop setup, although there can be subtle differences. For one, jazz drummers tend to place more importance on the snare drum as well as the hi-hat and ride cymbals. Jazz drummers usually favor easy, comfortable setups that let them play intricate rhythmic lines in a smooth and natural manner. For this reason, jazz drummers often use simple kits. Ludwig is a brand often preferred by jazz drummers. Some of the greatest jazz drummers in history, such as Buddy Rich, exclusively played Ludwig drums. Um, there's a guy that I seen on a video the other day. He is a very good jazz drummer. He uses the ride, the snare, and the hi-hat just as much as it's kind of saying right now. That is a very important part of the jazz drum set. It's kind of just a swing beat, and those are the three main parts, and then you got the bass with the kick drum and everything, and it all just goes together very smoothly and nicely. Um, Next we got the fusion drum set. The term fusion is often used to refer to any mixture of jazz, progressive rock, and world music, especially Latin. Um, this is electric music that draws from lots of different sources to define itself. For drummers, this usually means large drum sets with many different elements, which can include special cymbals or Latin percussion. Also, they add many toms and many cymbals, and it's crazy and it looks very cool. Um, Since these types of drum sets are usually comprehensive, studio drummers tend to play some sort of fusion drum set. A professional musician who might play rock one day and salsa the next needs to have a setup that capably handle both. Jazz trained drummers who work in multiple genres, like The Police's Stewart Copeland and Dream Theater's Mike Portney, use tama drums for this. So these fusion drums, like I said, they look really cool. They got a bunch of different toms, different cymbals. They got multiple crash cymbals. They got a China cymbal. They got multiple hi-hats, and it just looks very cool. And they all use it uh, very generally, and it's just amazing, and it looks really sick. Now on to heavy metal drum sets. heavy metal sets can be as over the top as the musicians playing on them. It is not uncommon to see two bass drums side by side. Heavy metal drummers place extreme importance on the bass drum, which needs to have a sufficiently powerful impact to work with the rest of the band's distorted instruments. Cymbals are also very key. Heavy metal drummers like having large collections of crash cymbals valued for their loudness and brilliance. A lot of heavy metal drum sets have a China cymbal. It sounds disgusting, but it is a very loud sound and it just works with a heavy metal. They got all the screaming and it's just loud and ugly. And that's kind of what it is. But some people, they enjoy rock, they enjoy heavy metal, and that's them. I personally don't enjoy it, but that's just me. Um, but yeah, they uh, value for their loudness and brilliance. Famous heavy metal drummers like Tommy Lee tend to use pearl drums and Zildjian cymbals. Their products respond well to the hard-hitting style of these aggressive players. Lars Ulrich of Metallica uses Tama drums and is the only Tama endorser to have a signature kit to his name. Ulrich also uses Zildjian cymbals. Um, he So heavy metal with double bass. Um, they will have the two kick drums side by side, like I said, um, or they'll have a one bass drum, and they'll have a double bass pedal, and it all just looks very nice. It all looks very cool, and it's just very pretty, and it's a blast beat, and it sounds so cool. It is a very difficult task, but if you can do it, it is very fun, and it looks crazy sick. Now on to country drum sets. Country drummers need a tight drum sound to complete their bands effectively. This is best achieved by the snare drum and hi-hat, both of which often play critical roles in country music. Um, Modern country drummers have moved more towards rock sets over the past few decades and continue to incorporate rock and pop style approaches. Duane Norman and Robert Harson are Gretsch drummers well known throughout the music community of Nashville, Tennessee. Another highly regarded Nashville country musician, Marcus Hill, is known for playing Gretsch drums for Eric Pasley. Um, Country music it can be fast, it can be slow, it can be very just in the middle, and either way, I personally love country music drums. It sounds so good to me, and I just love it. It's amazing. So now on to electronic drum sets. Modern drummers who want to incorporate electronic sounds often use hybrid electronic drum sets to do the job. These sets vary widely in appearance. Some of them replace the toms with electronic pads and trigger samples. Others are essentially rock pop kits with a sampler included next to the hi-hat. There is no standard for hybrid drum sets. One of the major drummers to use these types of sets is Tony Royster Jr., who plays with Jay-Z and Owl Nation. He is known to use a large fusion-style acoustic drums by DW with two bass drums and up to four toms at a time. At the same time, he has a Roland SPD SX sampler located right next to his hi-hat cymbal. Um, what they're talking about is the Roland SPD SX sampler, and it's like a little pad. It has like six different pads, and you can set it to whatever sound you want. And all you gotta do is take your drumstick and hit it, and it'll make that sound. So it's kind of like an electronic little voice box type of thing, I guess. And you can download it on your phone and stuff like that, but easier like that for a drum kit because you can just put it right there and you can hit it whenever you want to. Um, Electronic drum kits, we'll get on to that. Um, those are very simple. They are very expensive though. If you want a very nice one, that's going to cost around you $5,000. So yeah, those are very expensive. I would not recommend that. But if you did have the money for it and that is what you want, I do recommend it because it can be very easy and it has it's already tuned and everything. You don't have to do a bunch of the work. All you have to do is get the cage thing set up and set up your toms and your hi-hats and your cymbals unless you get a very expensive one and it has all of the pieces separated. But that's all I have for you today. So, peace out, Girl Scout.